Hey guys, welcome to part 9 of data analysis and dashboard building using Microsoft Excel. In this Excel worksheet, raw data worksheet has sales record of Oregon company from January 1, 2021 to June 30, 2022. And in this part 9, we are going to solve these questions. We will convert data range to table, and I'll explain why, and calculate sales by product for each month, calculate overall sales for each month, use a use a column pivot chart to show sales, and add a trend line to show sales growth. Now, the reason why we need to do that, in all my previous video, all the previous 8 parts, I have created pivot table after selecting columns like this, right? So after selecting all the columns, right? And it gets tedious sometimes selecting all the columns, and if you might want to add more and more columns, right? So that's why table becomes handy. So you select all the columns, go to insert, and here you will see table, and this is your table, right? So, and just my table has header, yes. So I have selected the range that includes the header. So I have checked, this is already check marked, and then I'll click OK. Now everything it's here is part of the table, and this table is by default named table 1. So we will say Oregon sales. Remember, don't put any space in between. You can use underscore, but don't put any space, then it won't Excel won't accept the table name. So now in order to create pivot table, we don't need to select all the columns anymore. What we can do, we can just go to dashboard, select the cell where we want to place the pivot table, and then go to insert, and then click on pivot table range. We can just write Oregon sales, just the name of the table, and click OK. Excel will identify all the tables, all the columns of the table automatically. So we have all the columns. Now another benefit of table is that if we want to add a new column, say I add a new column like test 1, Excel is going to and hit enter, Excel will automatically assume that this new column, which is adjacent to the other columns of the table, are part of the table. So let's hit enter. Now with this color, you can understand that this new column is now part of the table, and I can just go to dashboard and right click on the pivot table, hit refresh, and if I go down, I can see test 1 is already here, right? So now it's much easier to create the pivot table. You don't have to select all the columns. If you add new columns, you don't need to go back and select again. You just hit refresh, and a pivot automatically will understand. Now that we have the pivot table, we can easily calculate the sales. So for month, so for each month we need to have the dates in rows. So let's drag the date in rows, and you can see that Excel automatically calculates everything for you. So it has all the data here. 2020, if you expand more, say 2021, you have the quarterly data, and if you expand more, you have all the monthly data. So we just need month, right? So I'm going to go here, rows, right click and remove field. Alternatively, another option is right click on any of the date. It can be year, quarter, month. So click on group. So you can see that Excel is grouping them year, quarter, month. I don't need quarter, so I will click quarter. So that means now year and month is selected. I'll click OK, and now you can see that Excel has categorized by year and month. Now I want to see sales by product, so I can drag the product name and put it on the column. So now I have list of all the products. All we need now is just values. So drag the revenue and hit value. So now you can see how much you made for each year for each product and what was the grand total. So in January you made 94,000 and so on, right? For each product you can see. So that solves our second question. So when you put so many products on the column, it becomes a bit cumbersome. So sometimes like upper level management just want to see sales. So that's why we are calculating overall sales, not all the products. So what we will do, we will click on the pivot table, go to columns, and then remove fields. So now this is purely our sales, and we don't like this format as usual. So we will click here, go to currency, and click on currency. So and we don't need the decimal. So that's so that's in our right currency. Now to create pivot chart, let's click anywhere in pivot table and go to pivot table analyze, and then you will see here an option pivot chart. Let's click on here. We want the column pivot chart. That's what the requirement is. So it's already selected, and click on OK. So we have the column pivot chart here, and let's name it, say, revenue $. And this is our all the sales, right? And the question is asking, now after creating this column pivot chart, it wants us to add trend line. So trend line helps you to see growth. It sort of gives you an estimation whether you are growing, whether you are not growing, what's the condition right now. The way you can show the trend line in the chart is click on any of the columns, and you'll see that columns are selected. Then right click, and there's an option to add trend line. So click here, trend line, and so you can see the trend is sort of not showing any type of growth. So the trend is actually the sales is very static. It's not growing very well. There are ups and downs, but over the months starting from 2021, it's more or less same. It's slightly downward sloping, but more or less same. So and here you can see there are different options. I won't get into the details, but mainly if you select exponential, that's more responsive to recent sales trend, and if you see same for moving average. And if you want, you can also display the sale equation. There's an equation here, so you can use the equation and do some kind of forecasting. I hope you like the video. If you think this video series is helping you in any possible way, please leave a thumbs up, follow me on LinkedIn, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.